I'm Kristen, author of The Age of the Child.
Hi, I'm Isabel, founder and firebrand of the Uprising Spark.
Hi, I'm LeNora, creator of The Bitchy Bookkeeper, and we are the three founding non-mothers of Childfree Girls.
Why are you laughing?
All right, so
I am overtired.
well, this actually, okay, you know what? This is how we're going to start the episode. It's really fitting. It's been a very emotional week. I'll explain. So yes, we are the three founding non-mothers of
I don't understand. If anyone's watching this, please tell me what's going on.
I have to not look at Kristen when I do this. Okay,
Done.
so we're laughing. This
Good.
is our weird. Okay, no, this is fine. Let's just leave this. In this episode is going to be slightly less formal than what we normally do. Clearly, if you're watching if you're listening, go and watch the video because it'll explain a lot.
As Isabel described it earlier, LeNora has been replaced with a pink wig.
I have, yes.
It's not any pink wig. It's not a bob. It is like cotton candy explosion of some kind with black ribbons in it.
That is fair. I'm wearing it really to lighten the mood of what's been going on this week. So our episode today is going to be, like I was trying to say, more informal. We're going to be discussing our child-free home lives, and basically it's going to be a conversation amongst friends. Now, at the time that we are recording this episode, there's a shit ton of stuff that's going on. There is the coronavirus pandemic still happening, and we are very much in the Black Lives Matter movement that's happening in the States and around the world. And currently, social media is amplifying Black voices, and it's very, very intense time all the way around whatever color you're at, so whatever color you are. So when this episode airs, who knows what the state of the world is going to be like. So before we get into our main conversation, I want to address, in a way, what's going on in the States. Because the three of us live in different countries, we are of different ethnic backgrounds, we decided to not comment as a group on our social media regarding what was happening. We continue to dedicate our space online to to child-free content, and each of us has a different point of view based on where we live and our background. So I wanted to start off with that and throw it to Isabel. You can say what you need to say on the matter, and then we'll go to Kristen, and you can say what you want to say on the matter, and then I'll continue.
Well, I think I'm going to keep it very short because this is an issue that is not like current issue in the sense that it's not happening since last week. It's been happening for hundreds of years now. And people have been, we got a comment from someone saying, oh yeah, it's cool that you're not being sheep or something of the sort. And I don't think it is about being sheep or not being sheep, like following the trend. I think it's about taking advantage of these moments to actually bring more awareness to something that has to be fixed. I mean, it's just a pity that it's been seriously hundreds of years since this, and it keeps happening. And it's not only in the States. I mean, of course, right now, the whole world is focusing on the current events in the United States, but it happens all around the world. It happens in Latin America a lot. Like, I'm from Colombia. We're very, very mixed. Our ancestry is mixed between European, Native American or Native Latin American, and African as well. And even here, when people are born and they have lighter skin and they're blonde and they're blue-eyed, they're praised more and they have easier lives normally than people who are darker. So
that's so strange I don't know, I just picture Colombia as a place where you're kind of expected to have olive-colored skin and dark hair and brown eyes. I mean, I don't understand why the light-skinned, I don't understand why the whole Aryan aesthetic is considered so popular. I don't get it.
It's considered superior. It has its historical reasons. I mean, and here is the same. The people who came to this area, this land, who were fair and light-eyed were Europeans. And they were dominating over the Native Americans who had been here longer than them. And of course, they brought the slaves from Africa to do the work that they didn't want to do. So, it's just historical, political, social, economics. It has to do with everything. And the issue is that racism is systemic here in the States and everywhere else. And it takes a very big effort from everyone in society, not only the people who are being affected by this, but everyone in society needs to actually make the effort to fucking stop it.
In Sapiens, there's a section, it's been a couple of years since I read / listened to it, but there's a section in Sapiens that in which the author talks about white supremacy or racism or something like that. And he makes a point that that's how humans are. And that's how they've always been from the very beginning. There's always one section of humans trying to lord over another section of humans for whatever reason. They'll always find something to place themselves in a superior position and classify another kind of human as inferior, because there's always this desire or craving or primitive, base, gross need for power or something. I wish I had more hope about these protests. I wish I thought they would make a really big change. I do hope that it will encourage changes in the law, and I hope that they eliminate qualified immunity so that cops can't do all the illegal shit they do and get away with it. So I'm hoping that this will, at the very least, make some changes in the law. I do not have hope that it will make changes in people. I have no hope for that whatsoever.
Unfortunately, I think you're probably right when it comes to people. I mean, as you know, and anyone that follows me on the Bitchy Bookkeeper knows that this has been like the craziest emotional week I've had in a very long time. I was not expecting to be involved in this conversation because I've always said I'm biracial, but I've never addressed my personal experiences with racism and colorism, and I've never spoke up to Black people and to white people like the way I felt forced to this week, but realizing, okay, this is important for me to do. So for me this week, first of all, it became very personal with all this was happening because I've always watched what's happening in the States. I have my own personal experiences, but because I'm only half Black, I felt like, well, this isn't my conversation. This is not my fight. This is not my battle. But this whole week has been completely, it's just shifted my life and my inwardness, like just completely on its head. And I've been so vocal the last few days. I'm having trouble finding the words now, which, as you know, is not normally the case for me, but it has affected me. It has affected my family. It is now like I'm seeing my mixed race cousins go out and fight wherever they live, like not fight, sorry. They're going out to protest. I've been having lots of discussions with my brother because I come from a Black family that doesn't discuss race. So it's my generation and younger who are actually speaking out about it. But I am fighting a big internal battle right now. And that's where I'm at. And for really specific stuff, you guys can all go to the Bitchy Bookkeeper, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or Pinterest or YouTube. I am making my point very clearly, and I will be advocating in future, and further down the road continuously for biracial and mixed race people, because it's really brought up a lot of stuff that I thought I had dealt with, and obviously I've buried. And I also want to commend both of you, Isabel, on social media and on our private conversations, and you, Kristen, as well. First of all, for having my back, for just letting me vent, because I've had to say a lot and I didn't realize I had to say a lot. So thank you, both of you, for listening. And also because as a group, we are so diverse and we have a diverse audience, and we're navigating how we move forward as a group without making that the full conversation. Recognize that it's happening, but we cannot speak as a collective because we're come from different places, so we support what's happening, but as a group, we will not be issuing. We'll be addressing it from our individual things. So I want to thank you two for supporting me and for supporting the conversation individually. Appreciate it very much, for putting up with me in chat. And again, if anyone wants to have this conversation with me specifically, go to my Bitchy Bookkeeper stuff. We're going to move on now to our lives. And I wore this wig for a reason, because I wanted to lighten the mood, because emotionally it's been a very long week. So the laughter is just Kristen's expression when I showed up on chat, and then Isabel going, "Whoa, your hair." For anyone that's not watching this but listening, that's the backstory of this. And I may look ridiculous, but I need this to lighten the mood and carry on. So, talking about our child-free home lives. My home life is my haven. It allows me to be silly. It allows me to be happy. It allows me to be creative. I live by myself, and I hope I can do that as long as it suits my needs. Well, okay, let's talk about our home lives. What is it like? Because I'm curious. I'm very nosy. So, Kristen, I want to know what goes on in your household. Like, tell me everything.
A specific question?
Okay. When you wake up in the morning, like your home life, how you decorate it. I know, like, just talk about your being in your house. How do you feel? What do you like about your house? What's it like? What's it like to be where you live? Like your neighborhood. As I'm getting to know you, I'm like, what's it like to live in your house?
Well, I'm going to show you my hidden chair, because it looks like an old lady's chair in my office. See, it's all covered with blankets and stuff, because it's a new chair and my cat is an asshole and he thinks everything's a scratching post. So I have to do that. I don't want to. It's a very nice looking chair, but it looks like a grandma chair. I actually just recently made this office my own. I used to share it with Ian, who is my husband. So it's super cozy. I have a corner to sit in and read, and I will show that to you. It's, oh my God, it's right there. There's my little sitting reading corner. It also has a blanket on it because of my cat. I'm not a grandma, I swear. In the morning, I probably get up at 5. And if I'm going to write, I like to try to write in the morning because I'm dead in the afternoon. So if I'm going to write that day, I can only write up till about noon. So I'll walk my dog at 5, from like 5 to 6, and then have coffee, and then try to be at my desk by like 8:30. I sit around a lot in the morning. Anytime to just chill and have coffee, make a breakfast.
And you send us all the texts in the morning while Isabel and I are still sleeping because we're in different time zones.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's also when I have to do the, I always mean to do CFG stuff at night to prepare for the morning so I can only write. But a lot of times I have not done that. So I'm like trying to get that stuff done so that I can still write on time.
I had a question because Isabel and I usually have discussions later in the evening when you've gone to bed already.
I'm sleeping.
I'm the last time zone. So you're in bed by my time. It's what, I think 7:30 my time. I'm like, okay, Kristen's out. So Isabel and I stay up late. We're only an hour apart. So we chat. And then I like, what happens when you wake up in the morning and you check and you've seen all the stuff we've discussed? And
it was just a couple days ago when I woke up, one of you said something like, I wish we could wake Kay up to show her this or ask her this or something. But I woke up in the morning and I looked at chat and I scrolled and scrolled to see when it started. And I was like, holy shit. So much to go through. Why are you still awake?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, and we really, really wanted, what was it? Oh, that was, I think, the promo for the last
That was the promo.
And we were dying laughing. Isabel and I were like on chat. Like, I was crying so hard laughing. And I was like, oh man, I just wish I could get your opinion. Like, because we, just, can we shake Kristen somehow? I mean, it's like, we can't reach you.
Well, hey, when you wake up at 5 and like one of the first things you do is walk 4 miles, I mean, you go to bed at 8:30.
I guess.
Yep.
So that's, yeah. Lately, though, it's been a lot of mulching because we want to move eventually. So if you don't have a yard with flowery areas in it, then be happy because you don't have to take care of it. But if you do happen to move into a house, know this. If you ever move into a house and you think, oh, it's so pretty, look at this wonderful garden area. Look at all these lovely flowers. Look at this very neat, nice mulch area. If you've never encountered that before or had to deal with it before, just know that that mulch area, that very pretty garden area, is going to require you to keep it up. You're going to have to deal with weeds. You're going to have to deal with remulching. You're not going to know what the hell's springing up in the spring because it's your new house. And so you're either going to pull stuff up or you're going to get a lot of weeds. Weeds are a big pain in the ass. Big, huge pain in the ass. If you don't like gardening, do not buy a house that has a pretty garden area because you have to take care of it. And if you don't, weeds grow everywhere. And then you look like one of those people that you see living on the street somewhere with grass that's like a foot high. And you think, oh, what happened? You happened. You happened if you don't like the garden.
And then when you add like a washer that doesn't work or a dryer in the yard in their car.
Our house next door, we like everything this direction on our street is totally fine. This direction, right next door, we have a house with foot-high grass and a car parked in the yard. So it's going to be really fun to try to sell.
All right, Isabel, spill Columbia, your area, your household, your...
Well, I also live by my lonesome, like Miss Faye here. And I love it because I usually, when I spend a lot of time with people who are like, just in general, when I spend a lot of time with people, I usually get like emotionally and energetically drained. So this is like the way for me to recharge is to like be in my space. I love plants, but I don't have a garden like Kristen. I have a lot of potted plants, so you can see many of them behind me, but I have a bunch more over the house. I have a studio that I never use. I have a terrace that I use sometimes to work there, but it's my dog's terrace mostly. Like he loves to go there and lie down, and sometimes we get the sun, sometimes we get the odd bird that comes in. But I live on a 5th floor, so I have a pretty good view of the city.
Why don't you use your studio?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's funny because I actually have it all. Or I bought a new beautiful desk. And I have all of my art supplies are there, and like it's just I set everything up so I like spend time there. But there's something about that room that I don't like spending a lot of time there. I don't know. It feels constrained. It feels like it's very warm too because the sun of the afternoon like just hits it straight through the window. So I usually like take the stuff out of there and I do my things either in the dining room or in the terrace or in my room mostly. I have my apartment is I love white, as you can see. Like my walls are white, my furniture is white, everything about my apartment is white. Most of my furniture, I have a lot of things that are made of just wood as well. But I think the reason is because it kind of like calms me down. To see all the white, but also it's the opportunity for me to use those blank spaces to put color. So I'm sure you guys have seen this.
So did you do that?
No. I actually had there's a local artist. It's a graffiti type, very very big graffiti type commission. I wanted him to do, and this is actually in my city. It's represented there. So I have like a lot of colors, but it's hanging. So if I don't want to see it anymore, I'll just change it. I think it's
very controlled color.
Yeah, it is. Yes, I like muted colors and like it just calms me down, I guess. My studio, I use it more to like store stuff. I wouldn't say I'm a hoarder, but I'm this close to becoming one.
So what's in there? What are you storing in there?
I have all of my kite surfing gear. I have all the jackets and like sweaters and stuff that I don't use. I mean, Cali, it's very warm here. So I only use it when I'm traveling. I store all my linens are in there, shoes that I don't use, just like the place for everything that I don't want in my room or in the like common areas to be in just like ends up there.
That's so handy. If you open the door, does stuff like just fall on top of you?
like Monica on Friends that had a different room. Not exactly. I actually fit everything in my closet. Try to keep stuff out of the floor because otherwise, I don't like a room where you can't really like get into, like step into it. Just and I forgot to say, Euro. Where is he? Oh, do you see that?
Is that his foot?
That's his leg.
Aw.
He has a bed on every single room in his house. Yet,
Oh my gosh.
he loves to sleep on the freaking couch. So every time he does that, I'm like, Euro, stop it.
Aw.
Every single day.
Oh, he's so cute.
That's funny. That's cute.
Oh, hey.
Well, you guys and your pets. Okay, so while those two are attending to their animals, I live by myself with 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms and no pets, and it's wonderful. Actually, this is, man. So because I've been housebound and driving really hasn't been a thing except to go to the grocery store, last night I just needed to mentally just get away. So I went down to my garage because I live in a 3-story townhouse. So I have an attached garage. It was the first time in my life I've ever had one, and I love it so much. You can fit 2 vehicles, but I just have one. So I went down to my garage, and I sat in the back seat of my SUV, and I just listened to a podcast, and I took a pillow and a blanket, and I have all this space in my house. I went and sat in the back seat of my car. Like I always feel like I'll never have enough space to satisfy me. I've lived in all different kinds of places, and this place by far is, in 37 years, the place, I've been here 2 years, I've never felt more at home than I do in this space. I went to San Francisco on a quick trip, and of course the bay windows in that city inspired me so much. I came back to my home in Alberta, Canada, and I was living in a different place at the time, same neighborhood where I'm living now, but I was like, time to move. And I saw this place for rent. It has 4 bay windows. I have a bay window in my bedroom, bay window in my office here, bay window in the kitchen, bay window in the living room, and I was like, I want it. And I told the landlords, I'm like, I want it. And the first thing they said to me was like, well, why do you need 3 bedrooms? Because I said, yeah, I'll be living here by myself. And I was like, well, I need my master bedroom, and then I need a spare room. Because I also, when I'm not feeling good, I like to sleep in another bed.
Yeah.
So, my nephews are the only people that really have visited me to stay over for any length of time. So that's their room, and they have their own bathroom. But when I'm not feeling good, I like to sleep in another room. And the spare room, which is next to the office, has a nice big window. It's not bay window, but it's got nice airflow and view of the church and the school and the soccer park beyond that. And I can spy on the neighbors there too. That's the other thing. I'm so nosy. I live in such a tall townhouse. I can spy on both sides of the neighborhood. It's fantastic.
Do you have a telescope?
No.
Did you get a telescope?
Well, I don't need to, because in the front of my place, from my bedroom and the living room, it's the complexes are next to each other, right? So I can see kind of, which makes me self-conscious when I'm like standing in front of the window getting dressed going, wait a sec. I'm like, no, I'm the neighborhood snoop. I'm the only person looking out these windows. In the back, there's nothing that I would need to snoop into, because it's got nice green space and I can look on the other side and see neighbors. But what was I talking about? Anyway, so I told the landlords that I wanted this place. I said I need a spare room, and then I also wanted an office, and that's where I do, of course, this reporting. But like Isabel, I've set up a seating area, and I've got a big closet in here, and I come to record and kind of do official stuff. But mostly, I do writing downstairs in the living room, and the living room is long, and I only use half of it. And then sometimes I'll do stuff on the kitchen table, and I never eat at the kitchen table. I eat in front of the TV in my living room. And I'll journal or meditate in the spare room, and then my bedroom is my bedroom. And sometimes I'll revert back to my 14-year-old self and just lie on my bed and write in my journal, listen to music. And then I remind myself, I kind of go back to my younger self and go, hey, you have this entire place to yourself. Like, this is the dream that you had. And I have all my Christmas decorations still up, because this year sucked. And normally I leave my Christmas tree up until February. And with all the stuff that has happened this year, I'm like, I'm just going to leave all of my decorations up all year. So my living room is currently with the white Christmas tree. But I frequently dance around this house. Every morning I get up, I go to every single room. I'm just like, I am so happy to be here, no matter what I'm feeling, because I've never This is the thing, and this is for child-free people listening, and, whatever your home space, your situation is, you get to the point where you're like, you gotta really make your space your own. And even if I've only rented a room somewhere, or had roommates, or lived with someone in the past, or living at home, like, eventually you realize, like, home life is important. It's your sanctuary, whatever that is, whatever you're working with. But where I'm at right now, I am like, feel the most free at home and just happy. And like I said, every morning, regardless of what's going on in my life, I am just like, I am so fucking happy to be here. And I dance around my house. And then I do the same thing at night before I go to bed. Just because it's like, the quarantine thing has actually really been good that way, because I'm so happy that it's happened at a time where I love where I live. Like, I sit on my stairs. I've got 26 stairs in this place. I often sit on the landing and just like stare into nothing and just chill. And I think maybe that's what I wanted to ask you guys, about your home life. Because sometimes you just need to stop. I'm not a person that stops easy, but do you find yourself, do you take a moment to like just enjoy it, regardless of what's happening, but realizing we've come through this far in life? Like, is there a place in your house where you just kind of like sit and look around and go, oh my God, like, I'm here, I'm alive, things are actually okay?
Well, I like to do that in my terrace, because I can look at the mountains and kind of like stare outside. I don't have neighbors in front of me, so I don't, like, there's not another building that I can, spy into or block my view. But for me, when you were talking just now about that feeling of, this is my space and I can do whatever I want and I can sit down and just stare at a blank space. I mean, what was coming to mind was, seeing my friends who have kids, when they're like babies and toddlers, they basically take over the house. Like, all their toys all over the place, all the things are the baby things. Like, so it becomes more their kids' space than their own. And I mean, it's understandable, of course, because, well,
all the dog beds.
Huh?
Because of all the dog beds.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of get it. And Europe has a toy box. Mm. My dog has a toy box, and he usually like picks the toys up and he like spreads them all over the place, and I'm the one who's picking up after him afterwards. So I kind of get it. But at the same time, it's not that bad, because kids usually have a lot of stuff and they take up a lot of space.
And they bring friends over. And
Euro doesn't have any friends. So, but
they talk.
Huh?
And they talk.
Yeah, but for me, it's mostly, I mean, the fact that I can, sometimes like when you don't feel like being with people, or, whatever it is, you can just say, no, I don't want to go out, and just stay here. And wherever it is that you are in your home, if it's a room because you're sharing an apartment, or if it's your apartment, it's a whole house. If you're, married or in a relationship like Kristen is, or if you're single like LeNora and I am, it's cool. It's part of being free, I think.
It is. I was thinking of Kristen and all her pets. Well,
they were a real pain today. They were all just little assholes today. It felt like my whole day was about them. And then I don't know if you guys saw my cat trying to climb up me a couple times just now, but I don't know what he was doing. That's very new behavior, and I do not like it, because he has all his claws, as all cats should. I think I understand the car thing, because even though I don't have a 3-story townhouse, we just have like a 2-story house, but I can still see the appeal of being in a very small, confined space, because you can feel I don't know, there's something. I'll go to the grocery store after being alone all day. I'll go to the grocery store and I'll sit in the parking lot in my car and just like look at my phone. I don't know why. I could have done that at home.
I think because like there's also a lot of emotion in your house. Like for me, I have it decorated the way I want. I put tons of things on the wall. I live kind of sparsely as far as furniture wise. I have what I need, and I like to have a lot of open floor space. But my walls, I hang necklaces on the walls because I rarely wear them. But I buy things wherever I've gone, or throughout the years, or things that my former music students gave to me over the years. Like I have stuff from all times of my life on the walls. And so everywhere I look, there's something that triggers a good memory or just a memory in general. And there's a lot to think about, but being in, like, my car is not decorated, and it's just,
there's nothing. It's a blank canvas.
Yeah, it kind of is like a way of taking you to the future, or you can only just focus on the now and the future. You're not focused on the past because there's nothing to stimulate a memory. Like, if I look at, does that make any sense? Like,
no, it makes sense. It's clear.
Yeah, it's clear. It's quiet. It is quiet in your vehicle, even if you're listening to music. And I think we all we all live in our little bubble in our house. And I think a lot of us really are nosy. I've been doing a lot of home tours on my Instagram stories in the last few months, and actually been happy to find out that other people like to snoop about other people. So just curious. I mean, like to see, when you get to know people, you're like, how do they decorate? And I just find it fascinating. I don't care how they decorate it. I like to see what people do. No, it's interesting. It's fun. And especially when you've had a dialogue with somebody and you kind of get to know them. And I think it's, especially now because we've all been isolated for a while. And even though there are some of us that love this time, you still want to share your space with other people. Because, like, right now, you two are in my home. We're talking. I mean, and the funny thing is I think people know this, but maybe they don't know this. Like, the three of us have never met in real life yet. We've just been in our own different countries and stuff. So, think like you can share without giving out your address. You can share your living space with other people, even friends and family that have never been to your space. I just think it's inviting. And for me, I'm not somebody that you can ring the doorbell and I will open. Like, you have to make an appointment. I am not a just drop by type of girl. Like, I have a post office box as my official address for a reason. All my ID, everything. The only email or the only mailing address people get is a post office box across town because where I live is private. But
I wonder if your neighbors who you think aren't watching you because you think you're the only voyeur in your whole neighborhood. But I wonder.
They watch me when I'm suntanning on the front step or like on the front.
I wonder if when you come out like in your clothes to go drive somewhere or something, if they're like, there she is.
Well, here's the thing. Because I have an attached garage, and this is what I love. I just go down to the entryway, go to the garage, open the garage door, pull out. They don't see me.
It's funny because I just noticed that the three of us, I don't know if this is something that is common in the Childfree community, but we're very like protective about our space. We don't let anyone in. Like you just said, like you have to make an appointment with me. And I was like, I hate it when people just like swing by. Like I was in the neighborhood. Like, fuck you. Don't do that. I hate it. Don't call me up 3 days before and tell me you're coming. So I'm fully prepared that you're going to be here. If it's like spur of the moment, I don't feel comfortable with that. Even if my house is tidy, like it has nothing to do with the state of my house. It's just me.
It's because, like you said, you don't get energy. Like we give our energy out. We're extroverted people. We have extroverted tendencies, but I don't get my energy from being around lots of people. I get it from being by myself, like you said.
No, I'm a total introvert. Like I think I speak in like here in the setting of Childfree Girls and also my own platforms. I'm outspoken because this is something that is very dear to our hearts. This is something that we believe in to bring awareness to Childfree lifestyle. But I would say that I'm in real life. I'm very introverted. Even if I was extroverted, I think it's just that for me, my home has always been the place where it's like this, it's like a bubble, like you said, it's like protective energy around me. This is the place that I come to be alone with my thoughts or do my stuff or, and I honestly, I don't know if you guys believe in woo-woo stuff. Are you guys woo-woo? We haven't actually thought about anything woo-woo. Yeah, like woo stuff.
Well, I believe that there's a lot of different energies that surround us. And I believe like when you were talking about how you feel when you go into your studio, I wanted to ask you, have you ever cleared it? Like, I believe that that's a possibility. I can't put into words, but I definitely believe in the energy of a room. It doesn't stop me from doing anything in my own life, but I am very protective of who I would invite over because of the energy or what may be following them. So I guess, yes, I believe in that.
Yeah.
However, in a way. Yeah.
Oh, I do a lot of cleanses with sage and other herbs, and I like to clear it actually, you feel the difference after, well, for me, I feel the difference after I do my cleanses. Like, it feels lighter, the air just in general. I don't feel anything weird in that room in the sense that it's not like heavy energy. It's just, I think it's too hot. I don't know what it is. I just don't feel comfortable there. But this is to say that some people just have very like strong charged energy, and when you let them into, well, I feel this way. Like I said, I don't know if some people are going to agree with me or not. They're going to say I'm crazy, but I usually feel like energy, very strong energy from some people, and like letting them into my space, that energy sticks around. I don't like that.
I agree with that 100%. Yeah, Kristen, because you said sorry. I'm not implying that you have that energy. I'm just
like, what are you talking about? Like,
no, I get it. I don't think it's weird.
I'm just curious. Do you invite like people to your house on a regular basis? Yeah,
no.
Okay. I didn't think so, but I was just wondering, like, what do you social wise?
I am not social. I don't. I have I'm really strangely scheduled. I used to be a lot more desirous of spontaneous things. I used to fantasize that someone I knew would knock on the door and just say, "Get dressed, we're going out," and just take me somewhere. I used to be really, really into that. But that was when, I guess when I was in school, like I went to college late. I waited about 4 years because I hated high school. I hated school. I hated organized studying. I hated tests. I was just done with it after 12 years. And then after 4 years, I decided, oh my God, my brain is atrophying. I must learn. So I finally went to school. And so I had an apartment at that time. I wasn't living in dorms or anything like that. I had my own apartment. Well, I was married, but then he left and then it was my own. It's very complicated.
I love that you've had an interesting life though, because it's different. Like, yeah. I'll let you finish, but I just want to say, like, I love hearing that stuff because it's like the three of us have different lives, and neither Isabel and I, we've never been married to each other or to other people. So like it's cool. I just had to throw that in there. Sorry, my humor is all over the place today. But I find that interesting when you. Yeah, don't ever be self-conscious about mentioning your marriages because
I'm not. I have no problem. Whatever stigma people attach to divorce, I think is ridiculous. I think if you get married with whatever your intentions are when you get married, if it lasts, it lasts. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't think of divorce as a failure. I think staying married forever unhappily is a huge failure.
Totally.
No, it was just, I was only saying it in a weird way because it's like, well, I was married, but then he moved out. So I had my own place. It's just, there's little blocks of time where I was actually not married. So I have to remember when those were. Oh yeah, but it was, my only responsibilities were, I had cats, but they're really easy. And so it was like school and work, and I had no desire to be scheduled in any way. I was just all over the place, and it was really, really fun. I don't know when the schedule thing started happening or when a schedule or routine in a certain way started to make me feel more comfortable, but that apparently happened at some point. So having that interrupted now irritates me. Like, if somebody I have friends who want to go out and have lunch, and I'm like, well, you want to have lunch at this time, but I really am hungry by this time. And then I have dog stuff at that time, and I don't want to take time out. I want to see them, but it's really hard for me to break away from my schedule. So, and as for people coming over, it's really the same thing. It's not, the people who I talk with on a regular basis are people I like a lot, and there are very few of them. So if seeing them is not a problem, it's more the schedule thing, and them coming over is fine, but as long as it doesn't interrupt anything, which it likely will.
So how do you, because I'm not a yes person, but there are a lot of yes people out there who feel obligated to say, yes, okay, sure, come over, and they'll accommodate the schedule. You're not one of those people, really.
No, I am. Yeah. I am.
You are? Oh, you would feel bad if somebody, like, you feel bad saying, no, I have the schedule.
Yeah.
How about you, Isabel? Or you're like, no, you.
I tell them, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that because, I mean, my people know me.
I guess, yeah.
They rather see me outside. Like they'll be like, "Oh, can we, catch up before, of course, the pandemic thing that we could be free and roam free in the city." I was like, "Do you want to catch up on, say, Thursday?" Yes, and they would be like, "So, do you want to go out?" And they would expect me to say, to choose basically, or sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, just come over," and they'll be okay, cool. Like if I tell them come over, it's okay, it's cool. If they tell them they're going to come over, it's not cool.
Oh, what?
You guys always reinforce my stance of remaining pet free. I swear to God. I mean, pets are cute.
This is not normal behavior. I'm telling you, he has never done the whole climb the thing before.
We've never seen you attacked on the show, and this is like episode 22 or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
A cat.
What's funny is that the last couple, like since I've moved into this place and it's been 2 years now, I have purposely hosted almost all of our families or my family's dinners because I grew up not celebrating holidays. So I don't have the big family. It just is my dad and his wife and my brother and his 2 kids. So when I say family dinner, that's what that means. But like Christmas and Father's Day and Easter, like we don't have family traditions in my family for dinners, but I've made it a point to start doing that since I moved here because I felt in a way since my mom is gone and her family is all gone now, it's like, it's not, I don't want to start a tradition, but I want this place to have memories. Like my nephews love coming here. We hang out. They've got space to themselves. I have my own space. No one has to use my bathroom. Like it's just been nice to finally kind of feel normal. And I finally had the first Christmas, like my first ever actual Christmas that I set up in 2018. Like I had first time ever having a full-size tree. I hosted dinner. I had friends come over a couple days before. I had friends come over for brunch in the new year. Like that year I hosted, I was finally able to kind of like host the dinners that I wanted. And that was fun. Then the pandemic hit and I was really over it. So, I mean, I've kind of fulfilled that fantasy. So I'm back to now being like antisocial, like my house is my space. My nephews are welcome over anytime, of course, once all this stuff is over. It's easy now. But in the last 6 months, I haven't had anyone come over to my house, except I did have a quarantine buddy for a little bit. And then had to cleanse the energy of my house after that, sharing a space with somebody. It's funny how that, like I've started to realize I like company in moderation. Like I like human interaction in moderation as far as like face to face. So 1 month of having somebody in my space, even though I have a lot of space, I was really happy to go back to, I'm living by myself again. And I hope that continues for, as long as possible, just because that's just what I need. That's the thing, that's just what I need. I didn't know that. I mean, I kind of did as a kid. I just always wanted to live by myself. But you can't when you're 8. So, it's just, it's discovery, having roommates, having spouses, having like live-in relationships, whatever. Most of it has been out of necessity. And then the relationship was like, I was curious, what's it like to live with someone in a romantic setting? It's okay. But then when they invite all their people over, it's like, oh, fuck. Like, no, that's the other thing. And the thought of being married and being married and relationships, I don't think about the fun parts of it. I think of, what if that person needs my space to house their family? That goes through my mind. And I'm like, I need, sometimes just an office to myself is not enough.
What's cool about this Childfree Girls thing, though, is that as isolated as the 3 of us often choose to be at home, and as cool as it is that we can get together and kind of be social like this with each other, I've always, I've seen YouTube shows and I've seen people talking to people who are watching their YouTube shows, like talking out to them and, the viewers watching and then commenting and stuff. And those to me at the time were just like comments strangers left on someone's video. It didn't really mean anything. It didn't occur to me to even think about it. But since we've been doing this, it's really been, I don't know, like, I don't think of them as just comments anymore. I just really like the people who are commenting on our stuff. And I feel like the people we're interacting with in the comments on YouTube, I feel like they're kind of this extended sort, and this sounds cheesy and it sounds like I'm lying. I'm not. It's just, I think it's really cool to start to know and see the repeat names and to see what they're saying, and even to see the new names. Like we've gotten some new comments on just various videos. Like people are seeing old episodes and newer episodes. And,
This week especially, we've seen a lot more of that.
It's just cool. I mean, I don't see them as some random stranger leaving a comment. I honestly see it as someone who, even though the connection is remote because it's something we said months ago that they're responding to today, it's still real. I mean, it's still, people always say it's just the internet, but it's not just the internet. These are real people saying real things to real people who are also saying things. I mean, it's just a different kind of communication, but we're all just people, man. I just think it's really neat.
It is really neat. I'm happy when I see people that I'm getting to know on my other platforms come here, and, you know, on our Instagram. I mean, our Instagram is awesome. I really love our Instagram, and seeing the repeat, you know, people that interact with our posts, and absolutely, like, I like to know what their home life is like too. Like, that's the thing. Yeah, it's true. And it's not something I understood until I started doing social media, and especially doing this podcast as well, is that I want to know who they are too. Like, cause they do interesting things, like their pets and
well, like KT Cats, KT.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Like we got to see, so she's reading, what is up with its voice? She sends this amazing picture reading Childfree Girls Comfort Food for Thought. And we know from this picture that A, she bought a paperback, so she's a paperback girl. B, she has a cat reading with her with a little upside down head on her book next to her hand. Also, she appears to be wearing pajamas with cats on them. So we've learned a lot from her just from this image. And that was just cool of her to take it and to share it with us. Is just really neat.
It was. That was
neat.
That was a really nice morning surprise, is seeing her post that, and then we shared it because it was. I mean, it's interesting to see your words. I mean, Kristen, you're the author here. You've written a lot. No, I mean you've written a lot of books on your own. Yes. No. Sorry. Hang on. Let me re-say this. Say this.
We all wrote it together.
I'm not referring.
You can give me all the credit.
Hang on. That's not what I meant. You've published your own books. You have a list of books. So you've seen your stuff in print. You've seen people. You know. You kind of are familiar with that experience. For me,
not as familiar as I'd like to be, LeNora.
For me, and possibly for Isabel. I mean, I can't speak to you, but to see like that we created that book together, yes. But to see that just out of the blue, somebody who bought our book, who it was such a beautiful shot, and the words were too, like the words. Even though we wrote the words, it was something like I needed to see that day. It's a reminder. It's like, wow, that's a really good thought. And yes, 100%. I'm like, oh, right, that's from something we wrote. But it's just
that's
because
what struck me too is the one she decided to focus on. Mm-hmm. Like, you never know. I just thought it was interesting. Oh, okay, so that's the one. That's the page or the sentence that resonated with her. And so that also tells us something about her.
Exactly.
You know?
And it's a two-way thing. Like, I have never been. How do I say that? I don't even know how to say this. Is really appreciated, because the thing is we are speaking out to be heard. We're speaking out to bring awareness, not just on this platform, but our individual platforms. Like, we all do different things individually, and you hope that whatever you put out there resonates with someone at least. You know, because for each of us, we have our own struggles with it, and we've created our lives, and we just want to share what we've learned, and to see someone else appreciate it and to, comment back or interact. I mean, it's nice, because being child free is a lonely experience, you know?
Not lonely at all.
Are you being sarcastic?
Being child free is a lonely experience. Well, I'm not being sarcastic. I actually was surprised that I'm not trying to disagree with you or shut you down. I was just like, zoinks.
Well,
like, what are you talking about?
Well, okay, I don't feel lonely being child free, but the fact that but in a way that I do, like, I don't feel in my space, I don't feel lonely.
All right, but in the larger world of childish people.
Okay, so
because everyone else has kids.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. When you are child free in a sea of parents, when you are child free and all of your coworkers have kids or want kids, when you're child free and all of your friends are either having kids or talking about having kids, it's a lonely experience. That's what I mean. Well, no, but the thing is we're cool with it. Like the three of us, we're solid in it. But there's a lot of people who aren't. Yeah. And we don't know that. We don't know how the person on the other end of this podcast and YouTube video feels. We don't know their experience. So all we're doing is like talking about our stuff so we can know, like, what do you feel? What do you need? What's your thought? Because that matters. That matters to us as content creators and just human to human. That's what I mean. It's a little, because I have felt lonely in my stance of not wanting to have kids, had no one to talk to about it. Even though I have relatives that didn't have kids, they're not super vocal about it. So that has been a lonely experience. I don't feel lonely now because I'm like,
that's true.
Well, I
forgot the being in my 20s part where it was very. My 20s was 20 years ago, so sadly.
It's okay, Isabel. Well, never mind.
But it has been long enough of not feeling strange about not wanting kids. But thinking back, yeah, it was I don't know if whatever the word was, whatever that phase is when it's not yet so decided or declared that there's still the expectation that you'll do it. Yeah. It's
not even the fence sitter stage. It's like you're developing your 20s.
No, but it's not like there's still like people don't know it. Like it's not so hardcore enough in you and told to people enough. Like it's not at that place yet where people know better than to think that you'll do this. Is that
where your cat's really distracted.
What are you doing?
Coming up and down. I'm listening to what you're saying, but all I see is these black ears going up and down.
He must be licking his feet.
He must be. It's just really funny.
I was wondering, you were smiling at it. I was like, oh my God, did I just say something stupid?
No. Well, I'm getting you back for all the times that I've seen you smirk about something and then I just crack up because I can't keep a straight face. Well, that is all for this episode. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, comments, topic suggestions, you can always email us at childfreegirls@gmail.com.
Hold on, Kristen's going into hysterics.
Oh, see, I was not looking at her. And what? Is it really hard to take me this seriously in this, or what's going on?
Well, I winked at the camera and no one noticed.
See, this is the thing. I always discover what you guys have done in playback because I'm so focused on what I'm trying to say without cracking up that I ignore Chris. I have to ignore Kristen on purpose because
I'm a terrible winker too.
She's made me laugh so many times, and I'm like, I can't look at you when I'm trying to be serious.
You can also find us on social media. We're very active on Instagram and Facebook specifically, but we're also on TikTok, Pinterest, LinkedIn. We're everywhere at Childfree Girls.
Our question for you is, what is whether you live alone or with somebody, Isabel, where do you go? So LeNora has 3 levels to herself and she decides to sit in her car.
Well, the third level is the garage, just to be clear.
I live in a house and I like to sit in my little office or I like to sit in my car at the grocery store, much like Michelle Obama did when she was taking care of her kids. And Isabel likes to sit on her balcony and wink. So where do you go, regardless of what your living situation is, where do you go to be alone and do all your thinky thoughts? Tell us in the comments below, or you can email us. You already got that address as childfreegirls@gmail.com. And Yeah, tell us your secret spot. Not that one.